So here are my criticisms of the original Kamado Joe. These things have been addressed by the manufacturer with the new Kamado Joe 2017 edition. I purchased this actually 2 months before the new edition, so I wanted to go through some of the changes, and I'll show you that, some of the new modifications they made. But before you do that, I thought I'd show you the old Kamado Joe and what some of the issues I have are. One is, it's actually very difficult to lift up, and just to tell you, it takes about 15 pounds of, it feels about 15 pounds of weight to lift up the top. It's very heavy. The spring is just not sufficient, and in some ways, I would say, in my opinion, it's a defective product, because because the issue is, when you lift it up, let me show you. It takes about 15 pounds to lift that up, and there's nothing holding it up. Here, at this point, it'll hold up. And you can see that's the system they have. It's not a hydraulic system like the new one, and it's just not sufficient. For instance, although it'll hold up at that point, it'll drop at that point. Once it's at this point, it'll just drop, and I'll show you that. It's just too heavy, and while a lot of people could lift this up, I would say, you know, when I asked my wife to do it, I mean, she just doesn't have the upper body strength that I have, and she has a very difficult time lifting this up, and because of that, she's just not going to use it, and that's a problem. I want her to use it, and there's no better way to alienate someone by, you know, than to make it impossible for them to use it. So that's the first problem, and I'll show you that. But the other thing is, if you look at these rings, these heat shields, it's just one piece, and although they have a cutout for it to expand, it's likely at some point you're going to get a crack on this, and then on the second piece, which is a big piece, which is one big piece and covers the whole bottom, that's going to crack as well at some point, because it just can't expand as well. And let me just lift out the kick-ash basket to show you. Which, by the way, I love this kick-ash basket. So basically, if you look down, it's just one piece, and it's likely that this is going to, at some point, crack. And it's expensive to replace. I think there is a lifetime warranty, but you know, they have to ship it, and you may not have it. I've used it only for about 3 or 4 months, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. I don't see any cracks. I was looking if there were any cracks, but so far so good. Though there's nothing really to protect this on top. The new one, I think, has a piece of metal, a ring that goes on it, which would protect it when you put the metal grates on top. And let me get one of those, and we'll take a look at that. But I think, and I want to show you 1 or 2 other things with this that I'm unhappy with. Let me pull it out. Okay, so I wanted to show you how this works, and I wanted to go through this with you because I feel that a lot of times on YouTube you just don't seem to get real reviews. People don't seem to go through the product in detail and show you the negative parts of it. And by the way, I like my Kamado Joe very much, but I think there was some negatives here that should have been brought up by other people. Though, to their credit, Kamado Joe has improved these and gotten rid of most of these problems in the new 2017 edition. So let me show you this. For instance, when you put the metal griddle on, it rests right on here, and I think there should be something protecting it, which there is in the 2017 edition, but not in the original edition. And that just goes into the ashtray, which is excellent. It's easy to remove the ashes. The other thing I didn't like, I never liked this seal. You have to replace this about every year. I mean, I've used this for about 3 months, and it's pretty beaten up already. I don't think this would last very long, and it's a pain. You need a blowtorch, perhaps, to remove all this, to scrape it clean, to put a new one on. You're probably spending about $30-40 to get it delivered and to have a new seal delivered to you every year. I mean, is that really necessary? Another thing I was unhappy with the old one, and I don't think the new one will be much better, but when I get it, I'll tell you. I didn't like the original cap. and I have it over here. It was pretty in stainless steel until it got dirty, but this is fine. This dial is fine, but it just slides off. When you open it up, it could just slide open, and if it slides open, you're just going to have a fire because the flames are just going to get too much oxygen. So I never liked that. I don't know why they have that. Or I would say at least it should lock into place, and you should have to press a button to release it. That would be a better approach. So I don't like this very much. I'll put that back. I got this smokewear cap, which is a little better. It's lightweight, but it's easy just to slide that open and slide that closed. So the main issue, getting back to the main issue, which I'm surprised that other people on YouTube haven't brought it out, or no one really mentions it, it's just the weight of this thing. And you're lifting this up, and if someone doesn't know what they're doing, especially, let's say they've never used a Kamado, and they try to open it up, they're going to try to open it up. The thing's going to, if they don't burp it, the fire's going to come out, or the heat's going to hit them, and they may move back, and the thing's going to slam. And if it slams, it's going to break the Kamado, possibly. Or if they have their fingers in there, that could really break, you could really hurt your fingers. And I'll show you what can happen. So, just to give you a view of it, I couldn't really come up with a replacement I wasn't going to use my finger, so I found the carrot. And basically, if you lift it up to here, I'm really afraid to drop it, but whatever. Look what happens if it falls. I mean, this can crush your finger. I mean, I would call this, to some extent, a dangerous product. It's, in my opinion, it seems defective, because there's no reason why a product should slam like that, especially when you're dealing with something that's hot, that's greasy. Your hands could slip off of this. If you're someone who doesn't have the upper body strength, you may be over here and it might slip out. I mean, look at that. Here's the rest of it. It just vaporized it. So that shouldn't be your finger. And I mean, I think it's something they've taken care of in the new Kamado Joe, and we'll compare it. But it's something that is problematic. So I'll show you the new Kamado Joe when I get it. And I did get a new one, if you've been following my videos, because of the crack here. And that crack came just from heating it up. It was at 750, and it cracked.